What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this one I'm going to be going over how you can gain as much lean mass in as short a period of time as possible. Now, if you don't know me, this was me a little over a year ago. I was 145 pounds. I had no real muscle mass, but at the same time I had excessive fat. I had no definition, no abs, anything like that. Fast forward to now, I'm looking like this. I am 165, much leaner than I was 1 year ago, and feeling the best I ever have in my life. So in the span of a year, I was able to bulk up 30 pounds and then cut down 10 pounds to where I'm now at this maintenance weight of 165 lean. Now, if you're anything like I was a year ago, you're eating everything you possibly can. You're training hard. You feel like you have everything locked in, but you're not seeing the results. You're blaming your metabolism, just saying that it digests everything you eat quickly. But the truth is, it's not your metabolism. It's not a willpower problem either. It's your system. And so in this video, I'll be going over the exact system that I use to actually put on 20 pounds of lean mass in the span of a year. And if you follow this system, I promise you will see significant results. Now, it may not be 20. I had the perfect conditions set up to get that, but I promise you, you will see the results. So by the end of this video, you'll know the exact diet you need to follow, exact training system you need to follow, and even potential supplement and peptide optimizations to consider to get the biggest you've ever looked in your entire life. Now, before we get into this, remember that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who lives inside of you. So building it to its potential is an act of worship, an act of stewardship, and it is not an act of vanity. So keep that in mind as we get into this, that it's all for God's glory and not for our glory. All right, so first up, let's get into why you're not growing. Now, the truth is, you're probably not eating enough calories. And this sounds ridiculous. I get it. I felt like I was eating everything under the sun. I felt like there was no way I wasn't eating enough calories. But the truth is, you're probably not. A lot of what you're consuming might be empty calories, and if you're very active playing sports, you're burning a lot more calories than the average person who's able to put on weight much easier than you. Most guys underestimate their caloric output and overestimate how many calories they're actually taking in. Everything is not a number. You have to actually have those numbers figured out, and figuring out those numbers is pretty simple. We'll get into that in a second. Next up is you're probably not getting enough protein. Research shows that you need a minimum of 0.7 grams of protein to actually be gaining muscle mass. Most guys end up only hitting 0.5 to 0.6 grams of protein a day if they're not supplementing or centering their diet around whole foods. And so we'll also get into the diet that's going to help you naturally get in more protein with it feeling effortless. And research has showed that if you eat more than that amount of protein, so 1.5 grams of protein, you're going to put on more lean mass and naturally burn more fat at the same time because your body is burning more calories and elevating your resting heart rate to actually digest that protein. Now, here's the issue with your training. You're likely not progressively overloading. Now, you can be training hard, but if you're not tracking your lifts and making sure that you're going up in weight almost every week, then you're not reaching your full potential. Just working out without tracking your lifts and tracking your numbers limits your potential. Muscle grows as an adaptation to stress, not just an exposure to stress. So you have to constantly be raising that bar so that your body can actually improve every week. Now, this next one is something you're likely overlooking, and it's more important than you may think, and that's sleep and recovery. Now, 70% plus of your growth hormone and your testosterone is produced at night while you're sleeping. And so if you're actively only getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep at night, you're sabotaging your growth hormone and your testosterone. Now, this study right here shows that just 1 week of being sleep deprived can decrease your testosterone 15%, and that compounds. So if this is a consistent habit, then it's likely decreasing your test so much more than you think it is. Now, the final issue you might be having, which is related to the sleep, is that your hormones are suppressed. So this can be low testosterone because you're constantly stressed, getting poor sleep every night, consuming a lot of seed oils, which we'll go over later in the diet section, consuming a lot of alcohol, or any sort of endocrine disruptors. These are all going to suppress your anabolic environment and cause you to underproduce the hormones that you need to actually grow. So all of these issues right here are your foundation. Before you look into steroids, before you look into peptides, anything like that, we should optimize these first. And for me personally, I thought I was taking all of these seriously, but I was really only doing them about 50% of the way to what I could be doing. And when I made the small changes to boost it to that next level is when I saw exponential growth in my mass and also in my energy and quality of lifts. All right, so first up is gonna be diet. Now, this is gonna be the most important part of this entire system because if you're not fueling your body properly, then none of the lifts, none of the recovery, none of that matters because your body's not able to do it to its full potential if it's underfueled. All right, so what are we gonna do? We're gonna find our TDEE, that is total daily energy expenditure. So that's pretty simple. You can ask ChatGPT to calculate it for you. Get one of the calculators online, completely free, should take you about 30 seconds. And that's gonna figure out the maintenance calories that you burn every single day. And then we're gonna add 250 to 300 calories on top of that. Now that's gonna ensure that we're putting on lean mass and not just gaining fat in this process of bulking. Now, it may be satisfying to watch the scale go up, but if you're just putting on fat, you're not gonna feel good and you're not gonna be performing to your max potential. So with this lean bulk rate, we're looking to put on 1/4 to 1/2 pound per week. Anything faster than that is gonna end up putting on more fat than muscle. Track that for 2 weeks and adjust depending on what the scale and the mirror are telling you. Because the scale doesn't lie. If you're not gaining weight, you gotta eat more food. It's as simple as that. So for protein, we're gonna target 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight daily. This is gonna ensure you're getting in enough and fueling your body properly to recover from your intense lifts, which we'll go over in a second. We're gonna prioritize complete animal proteins, which is gonna be from beef, eggs, salmon, chicken, and bison. We don't want to supplement with protein powders as the primary source, but we can add it in. All right, so the leucine threshold per meal is going to be about 2.5 to 3 grams to trigger your MPS to perform well. So this means eating 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal and spacing those meals 3 to 4 hours apart to ensure you're getting a steady digestion and steady supplementation throughout the entire day. So what's the simplest diet to follow? Well, it's going to be the vertical diet, which you can take a screenshot of this. It's pretty simple. It's whole food based, animal based diet that's basically going to lower inflammation and ensure you're getting the most productive and most efficient form of calories possible. It's going to be the most nutrient dense diet that you can possibly follow. Nutrient dense, protein dense, calorie dense foods that are going to fuel your body. So you want to time your carbs around training. You want to have high carbs before and after your training to ensure that you're getting the most quality and energy during your training and are able to refuel as fast as possible after. This is when your insulin sensitivity is the highest and when your glycogen uptake is peak. And then we're going to supplement with fruit as our additional carb source, fruit and honey. This is high in antioxidants, really good for your gut and digestion, and it's going to produce natural energy and natural glucose to fuel yourself throughout the day. And then while we're bulking, we want to be taking in a lot of fats. Saturated fats are going to be great for this, which are going to help your body to produce more testosterone, more growth hormone, because your body uses that fat, which raises your LDL, which directly correlates with how much test your balls are going to produce. Now, omega-3s are going to be great as well, and that's going to help manage inflammation and help improve muscle protein synthesis. All right, and next up is going to be the most optimal training split. Now, for me, this is the bulletproof framework that I made that combines multiple different forms of training into the most optimal way to put on lean mass without gaining excess fat and while still staying in great cardiovascular shape. Because this isn't just about looking as big as possible for now. This is about sustaining a healthy weight far into the future so that you're able to stay healthy, play with your kids, and be mobile into your 80s and 90s, even 100s. So with this structure, we're able to hit each muscle group 2 times a week because that's the optimal frequency for hypertrophy in the average lifter. Meta-analyses confirm that 2 times a week outperforms 1 time a week per muscle group. So that debunks the bro split. Mine's gonna feel better anyway. So hitting 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week is optimal. So that's gonna be every time you hit a muscle group doing 2 to 3 sets per exercise, and that's gonna be easy, manageable, not take up too much time, totally doable. Below 10 is gonna be insufficient, and above 20 is gonna just add in too much volume, slow down your recovery, and prevent gains. More is not always better. So on most sets, we're gonna train 1 to 2 reps below failure. So I recommend for the first week or two, go to complete failure so that you understand what complete failure is. And then after that, you're gonna wanna dial it back. That way you're not overworking yourself. So this is gonna be the basic split that's pretty easy to follow. Day 1 is gonna be chest and back. Now I prefer this over a push-pull leg split because you're able to target opposing muscle groups, That way you're not as fatigued. For example, if you're hitting a push day and hitting chest, your triceps are working out at the same time. So when you hit triceps, they're more fatigued and it's not as optimal. Whereas if you do chest and back, you have full time to recover because your back is not working at all when you're hitting chest. So try it out. Ultimately, it's preference. Either one's going to be great, but I go with chest and back and then shoulders and arms the next day and then legs. Now we're going to want to do heavy compound lifts in every single one of these. So while I do accessory movements such as chest flies or tricep pushdowns, the majority of my workout is going to be overhead presses, bench presses, incline presses, stuff that's sending the most stress signals to your body to produce more growth hormone and more testosterone. And then for legs, I have one day that's a quad focus and one day that's more of a glute and hamstring focus. Once again, this is heavy compounds. So back squats, hack squats, RDLs, Bulgarian split squats, stuff that's really gonna suck and really gonna grow. You know, your training shouldn't necessarily be enjoyable. It should be a challenge and it should be something that part of you almost dreads because you know it's gonna hurt, but you know it's gonna make you bigger. So I alternate this. I'll do chest and back, shoulders, arms, legs, and then do that over again and rest on Sundays. And you might need to work up to this if you're a complete beginner. That's gonna be too much if you're starting out. But once you're already very active and lifting consistently, 6 days a week seems to be the peak. You know, you need one rest day every single week. And you can see gains with less than that, but right here we're trying to get as big as possible, right? So that's what you want to do. All right, so how are we going to track this and do progressive overload? Well, I personally use the app Heavy, not sponsored, but I just find it really easy to track my lifts and it's completely free. So we're going to be progressively overloading every single week. When we hit the top of our rep range without reaching failure, then we're going to add on 2.5 pounds or 5 pounds to the lift, depending on which one it is. For heavy compounds, it's going to be 5 pounds. For smaller accessory lifts, it's going to be 2.5 pounds. So I will start this process by doing 6 reps to failure. Now, once I can get that up to 8 to 10 reps consistently without hitting full failure, it's time to move up to the next weight. So what this ends up looking like for me is one day I'm hitting it, you know, maybe 3 by 8. And then my next lift, I hit it 3 by 9. And then the next week, the first day, I hit it 3 by 10, much easier. That's when I'll move up to that next lift. So it's usually every 3 or 4 lifts that you're going to go up in weight. So you want to be tracking every set, every session. It sounds like a lot, but with an app like Heavy, I know people use MacroFactor too. It's just expensive. You can even make your own in Notion, but it's super simple. And if you're tracking them, you're making sure you're getting the right growth signals and never going to plateau. And on top of this, I'm going to be doing ATG mobility work and explosiveness. So this is doing so much for your hips, for your back, a lot of active mobility. That's much more of a workout than a stretch. That's going to be, you know, sending growth signals while at the same time improving your range of motion. And on top of that, I'm doing intense cardio sessions to ensure I'm raising my VO2 max and getting the best growth signals possible and best cardiovascular health possible. So this is your foundation. So many guys skip this, but this is going to lead to burnout, lead to injuries, and lead to you being super big and bulky, but not being able to move at all. And if you want to be able to play with your kids in the future, you need this because that's super important. Don't overlook it now. Now, when we are hitting cardio, we're going to want to limit it to only 2 to 3 times per week. Now, this is just while we're bulking. Otherwise, we should be doing more. But excessive cardio on a bulk is going to blunt your mass gain because it's going to be competing with your resistance training for where your nutrients goes. So daily, we're still wanting to get in our steps, do the light cardio, but not heavy conditioning. That's saved for twice a week to improve your VO2 max, making sure your heart is staying healthy. Now, I made this routine pulled from information that I had learned from Jeff Nippard, from Renaissance Periodization, from so many different people. I was able to, through trial and error, make this perfect routine that ensured I stayed healthy while putting on the most mass possible. And if you're interested in getting a routine specifically built for you and around your dietary and training needs, then go ahead and book a call down below. It'll be one-on-one with me and we can talk about exactly how to do this. Because you have all the information on the internet, but none of it is tailored for you. And on this call, we can figure out how to tailor it for your specific needs so that you become the best version of yourself in mind, body, and spirit. All right, so next up, we're gonna go into supplements. Now, I'm gonna be honest before we go into this, if you don't have your recovery, your diet, and your training locked in, then don't even think about adding in supplements. because supplements only work on an optimized system to take them to the next level. If you're supplementing but don't have the other stuff locked in, then you're trying to fix a broken system. Fix the system first and then use the supplements to get to that next level. All right, so we're gonna have 3 tiers. First one is essentials. Second one is more worthwhile additions after you have those essentials and after you've reached your peak with those. And third is gonna be advanced therapies and potential peptide therapies. Now, keep in mind, this is not advice. This is simply stuff that I've done myself and have seen big results from. Obviously, consult a doctor if you're going to consider hormone therapies or peptides, but I'm just gonna tell you what I've done and what I've seen to work and not work. All right, so tier 1, first up is going to be creatine monohydrate. And this is going to be taking more than just the 5 grams a day that you're likely taking right now if you're already on it. Now, studies have shown that if you're taking 5 grams a day, your muscles are gonna get saturated, and when you're continually taking that, you're not getting any increased benefits. Now, if you up that to 10 grams, then you're able to get more optimal performance out of it. Now, this is the most studied supplement in the entire world ever. So it is safe to take long term. There are plenty of studies showing that no bad side effects. It increases your muscles' nutrient saturation, so it helps you to perform better, recover faster. Overall, one of the best supplements you can take. Next up is going to be protein powder. Now, this is a whey or beef isolate, and it's going to be completely natural. Now, I'm not affiliated with any brand. Do research on which one is the best for your needs. But chances are, if you're bulking and if you're eating a lot of food, you might not be getting in enough protein. And there is a time where I was only getting in about 0.6 to 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight, even though I felt like I was eating enough protein. And that was slowing down my recovery substantially. Over time, it would build up a higher level of fatigue, and I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted. Now, once I started supplementing with protein powder, I got to that next level. Next up is going to be vitamin D3K2. Now, testosterone synthesis depends on adequate vitamin D. So if you're not getting enough vitamin D, you're not producing your max levels of testosterone. And over 70% of the population is deficient in vitamin D. So supplementing with it is great. You also want to make sure you're getting into the sun enough. Now, if you combine those, your testosterone production will improve and become more efficient. Now, on top of that, I also took MK677 at the same time. Now, it acts on the similar pathways of hormone production through mimicking your growth hormone. So it triggers your body to be more hungry and to raise the efficiency of production of your growth hormone. So this is not a steroid, it's a peptide. It's basically signaling your body to do more of something it's already doing, just like everything else we've gone over. All right, magnesium glycinate is gonna help with recovery for your muscles. It's gonna help you relax, get into a deeper sleep. Overall, amazing for your recovery and for your muscle growth. It's gonna be 400 milligrams before bed. Next up is gonna be omega-3 fish oil. Now make sure you're getting it from a legit brand. Make sure you're refrigerating it so that it actually works. But this is gonna reduce inflammation, which increases your recovery rates, increase muscle protein synthesis, and support your overall joint health. All right, tier 2 is gonna be worthwhile additions to consider. Now, zinc is something a lot of guys are deficient in. So get your blood tested for this, because if you're not deficient in it, supplementing with it isn't going to make any improvements. But consider it if you still feel low test after doing everything else. Collagen peptides are going to help with your muscle protein synthesis, help with your tendon and joint repair, muscle repair. Overall, going to help you through increasing your collagen, and you may notice some skin benefits as well. Now, ashwagandha is going to lower your overall cortisol. And as you know, cortisol is basically the opposite of testosterone. It's a testosterone agonist. So if you lower your overall cortisol, you're going to raise your overall testosterone. And ashwagandha is going to help with that. I take it before bed to help my brain kind of shut down from a hard day of work and relax for bed. Now, you can consider pre-workouts and caffeine as well. Obviously, don't become reliant on it, but it can substantially increase your energy output and your performance during your lifts. All right, and tier 3 is going to be an advanced peptide discussion. Now, this is stuff that I have done for myself with the help of a doctor that increased my results so much. They lowered my overall inflammation, helped me heal from injuries faster, and helped me to feel substantially more energetic, recover faster. Overall, one of the greatest things I've ever done for myself, but it may not be for you. So make sure you're doing it in a safe way with the help of a doctor. Now, first up was the Wolverine stack. So that was BPC 157 and TB 500. Now, this helped me heal from injuries faster. If you've watched my other videos, you know that for the longest time, I struggled with countless injuries that physical therapists, that people were not able to figure out. And this was because I just had natural elevated levels of inflammation in my body due to my activity that wouldn't get knocked down. So the BPC and TB help you to recover faster and help lower your baseline inflammation. On top of that, I added in GHK copper and KPV. These lowered my inflammation, improved my collagen protein synthesis, everything like that. It's great to consider with a doctor, talk to them about it, go to a health clinic for it. Next up is going to be CJC 1295 and ipamorelin. Now these stimulate natural growth hormone production in your body through simply signaling your body to make more of it. It's not an endogenous production of it like taking a steroid. This overall supports body composition, sleep, and recovery improvements, and it is common in a lot of optimization clinics. Now this is very advanced, definitely not for beginners, and once again, speak with the doctor. Now I want to be clear, these peptides are for advanced guys only. This is optimization, not base level stuff. Now this can get you to the next level, but not if you're reckless with it. You don't want to wreck your long-term health for the simple benefits of looking better now. All right, next up is going to be sleep and hormonal optimization. Now this is one of the most important things. I would put diet, training, and then sleep and recovery. And it's something so many guys overlook, especially in hustle culture. You know, if you're watching this, chances are you're bombarded with a ton of stuff that's like just work, 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 put your head down, grind. And that culture overlooks sleep and recovery, and you need it if you want to be performing as well as possible into the future. So getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep is going to be the target. People say 7 to 9, get 8 to 9 if you're trying to put on as much weight as possible. Like I said earlier, studies consistently show that test drops 10 to 15% if you're sleep deprived, and this can compound over time. Now you cannot out-train, out-eat, or out-supplement bad sleep. It is the foundation that everything else is built around. So make sure you're in a cold, dark room. Your body temperature needs to drop in order for you to get into the deepest sleep possible. So have your room 64 to 66 degrees and focus on lowering your overall cortisol before you go to bed. So this will be through doing stuff that relaxes you, through eliminating blue light, everything like that. And I actually have another video on how to do this. And having consistent sleep and wake times every night is going to allow your body to most efficiently produce the testosterone and the growth hormone that it needs to recover and to perform to its best abilities. So find a schedule that works through the week and stick to that on the weekend as well. And eventually you'll get used to it and you'll wake up naturally on your own. So for me, I naturally wake up before 6 every morning, even on weekends, and I'm making sure to be in bed before 10 every night. I usually end up going to bed more like 9:30. Then getting morning sunlight is going to allow your cortisol rhythm to spike at the right time and to elevate and decrease at the right time, and going to help balance your circadian rhythm and make this habit something that is super easy and effortless. So I know I went over a lot in this video. I hope it helped you guys out. So I'm going to go ahead and summarize everything here into the simple action steps that you can take right now. Eat with a number. Calculate your bulk calories, base it around whole animal foods, and stick to that every day with no cheat meals, nothing like that. Train with a consistent system. Have the same routine every single week, hit every muscle group consistently, and track your progress so that you don't plateau. Optimize your baseline through supplementation once you have the basics set up. Be patient with the process. We don't want to move too fast. Make sure you're gaining 1/4 pound to 1/2 pound per week. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, building functional muscle isn't just about aesthetics. It's about keeping your body healthy long into the future so that you can have healthy relationships and a healthy life long down the road. It's about honoring the body that God gave you and becoming the kind of man who breaks his flesh and does hard things consistently. That's what this bulletproof method is all about. And if you're ready to take it to the next level, book that call with me down below and we can go over how to optimize all of this for your specific needs. And guys, thanks so much for watching. Hit that like button, leave a comment if this helped. Let me know any questions you have. I'd love to get back to you, and subscribe for more health tips and mindset tips like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.